Let's do it.
All right. Hey, everybody. Dan Harris here. It's time for TPH Live, your daily sanity break. We do 5 minutes of meditation suitable for wherever you are on the scale from absolute beginner to seasoned pro. And then the other thing we try to do here is to create a little bit of community in these deeply weird times. And our teacher du jour is Cara Lai, one of my favorites. She is a meditation teacher, a psychotherapist. She's an artist. If we can pull her up on the screen right now, you can see one example of her beautiful art behind her. And there it is. And she also teaches retreats for grown-ups and teenagers all over the country. And she is, final data point here, she is a coach on the 10% Happier app. Hi, Cara.
Hi. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming back. Yeah. So your subject that you wanted to talk about was trusting what's happening, whether you like it or not. And that sounds easier said than done. So can you tell me what you mean by that?
Yeah, no, I think that I get these questions sometimes that come in through the coaching feature of the app about how do I accept it? Because that's part of the instructions in mindfulness is to pay attention to what's happening and to find a place of acceptance with whatever you're noticing. And that it's not really a thing that you can do, right? It's not really something that you can just accept. And often what people try to do is, I'm just going to deny or suppress the parts of myself that aren't accepting this. And then we end up just being kind of confused about what we're feeling and kind of feeling ashamed of ourselves for not just being all zen and cool with whatever's happening. And really acceptance mainly comes just through finding the places where we can trust. Finding the places where we can trust and going to those places. And that's why when we are taught how to meditate, the instruction is to pick an anchor that feels neutral or slightly pleasant, because those experiences are things that we can trust because they're so simple. They're not laden with opinions. They're just here and now experiences that are happening right now. And there's something really raw about being able to meet those things that we can start to clearly see when we're making it more hard for ourselves than we have to make it. When we're putting on opinions or judgments or fears or other emotions are coming in. And then we come back to this place of safety again and again, and it starts to build some trust.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, we may be dealing with some difficult emotion, anxiety around the massive uncertainty with which we're all living, fear, the anger at, somebody we're living with or somebody who we see on TV, whatever. And the move in meditation is to explore that with some mindfulness, maybe some warmth if we can muster it. And then if it gets too much, we know that we can return to our breath or the feeling of our body sitting or loving kindness phrases or whatever our chosen meditation object is. Is that a reasonable summation of what you were talking about?
Yeah, basically. And there's definitely more than I want to say on this subject. And I'm trying to just feel for what's going to be helpful to say about it. I think the reason that I wanted to talk about this particular subject is exactly what you're saying, that there's so much intensity happening right now. And for people to hear the instructions to just come in and accept what you notice, it just doesn't make any sense. And so instead of feeling like we have to adjust our attitude about what we're experiencing, we can just find something that we can trust. What's something that I can be with? And it opens the attention wider. So we're not just narrowed around the painful fear, the painful grief, all the pain that we're having. And we're opening to actually, there's a lot of other stuff happening right now besides just the pain. There's the fact that I have a breath coming in and out right now. There's this seat that's supporting me from underneath. There's this space that I'm in, the place that I live, the food that I eat. There's the people I love who I can still talk to on the phone. And it's different for everyone, but everyone has something that's supporting them right now in their life. And when we can expand into these places where we do trust, well, then actually we get to put down the burden of feeling like we have to constantly fix what's wrong. And then we can enjoy what's already okay. And then what's already okay can even become, that doorway of putting the burden down makes it so that we have more energy to direct just towards the simple enjoyment of life, which I think Jeff talked about a little bit yesterday. Just enjoying the mundane things in life and not having to have it all figured out, not knowing can actually be a relief, because we just don't know. Let's just be here with this moment right now, the simplicity, because a lot of lives are really simple right now for people.
Well said. Let's put some meat on the bone and actually do the thing.
Sounds good.
I will mute myself and let you take over, Maestro.
Okay. Okay, so just checking into your body and see what you need right now to be at ease. A change of posture, a deep breath, feeling into the places that you can notice more obviously, the breath coming in and out. Maybe the feeling of your body resting on the surface underneath you. You might have a sense of being supported by whatever is beneath you and letting your body just rest there, letting your body be held. And if you notice the breath coming in and out, you might just rest at the bottom of the out breath for just a moment or two longer than you normally might. Letting any extra tension get released. And then allowing the next in-breath to come in on its own. So putting down the burden of needing to breathe and just letting the breath come to you. And opening up to the experience of sound. And letting the sounds come to you in the same kind of receptive way. Not having to go out and get the sounds or hear all the different sounds. We're just allowing the sounds to come to us. And of course, there will be busyness in the mind or thinking in the mind, and that's fine and part of it, actually. So this receptive attitude, this is what we bring to whatever in our experience feels neutral or slightly pleasant. And we can choose something that's happening, either a physical sensation or a sound or the breath, whatever feels neutral. And sometimes that means putting the attention somewhere that's far away from the center areas of our body. So like the butt on the cushion or the chair or the feet or the hands or the sounds around us. Finding a place that feels okay to be with. And just receiving that place, letting it come to us. So the mental activity that comes up in between the spaces that we're noticing in real time, they might often relate to thoughts about the past or the future, or something we need to do or try to deal with, something we're worried about. Whatever that is, it also might just be random. Whatever it is, we're letting that happen. We're not fighting it. We're acknowledging it and then coming back to our place that feels neutral, that feels like we can trust. And just gently receiving, letting that come to us. Just for this moment, you don't have to do anything. You have no responsibilities. Your only job is to receive this moment just as it is. You don't have to mess with it. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to get more calm. Just being and breathing. And widening your attention now to include your whole body, sitting or standing, to include the field of sound. And then softly, if your eyes are closed, opening them and receiving the visual input. And again, not having to do anything, not having to plan, bringing this thread of non-doing, of relief of responsibility into your quote unquote normal life. And we'll end the meditation there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well done. I've got some questions here. Liz says, I've been having really disturbing nightmares lately and wake in a panic. Do you have any advice for using meditation to help with this?
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I'm sort of familiar with this because I've definitely had a lot of sleepless nights, waking up in the middle of the night and feeling just really intensely uncomfortable. And I think sometimes, especially when it's really overwhelming with whatever's going on internally, the most skillful thing isn't to try to get in there and really feel that feeling. And it's actually not separate from mindfulness practice to put your attention somewhere else that's not that feeling. So if that means getting up out of bed and like walking around, or if it means just widening your attention so that you're like feeling the space around you and receiving the sounds around you, or even it's even okay to distract yourself in a way from that experience, to get up and have a cup of tea, or to just do something that feels really primally soothing. because these things are huge supports to keep the mind in balance. And when the mind gets overwhelmed and we try to just feel the feeling and feel the feeling and feel the feeling, it gets more and more heightened. And it's not productive, it's counterproductive. So yeah, and there's a lot of stuff around sleep and sleeplessness in the app too, which I'd recommend. And also, I don't think a lot of people, I mean, I'm just going to plug the coaching thing right now because I don't think a lot of people know about the coaching feature, but it's really, really supportive. And I get a lot of people asking these questions. And so if you talk with your coach, they could help you get some more specifics about how to work with that.
I just want to amplify a point that I hear you making here, which is that, a point that gets hammered away at in meditation circles and on this show on the regular is we're doing this counterintuitive thing in meditation of, instead of fighting or feeding whatever uncomfortable emotion or difficult emotion or whatever, we're going to lean into it and kind of explore it with some warmth and curiosity. But you're adding a really important tweak here, which is you don't have to do that all the time, especially if it's going to fritz you out. Other there are refuges from a cup of tea to a soothing sleep meditation, or just focusing in on your breath and not diving into the dark spots, that we can really take comfort in those places.
Yeah, and it's not avoiding anything, because what we're trying to do is just cultivate a mind that can allow things to be as they are. So we just put our attention on a thing that we can allow. And it's different from just spacing out or trying not to feel what we're feeling. It's just redirecting the attention into something that we can be with that's still happening right now.
David says, and this is a quote here, seeking and or maintaining approval to please others has always been a struggle for me. I feel you, David. How can I trust myself to truly be me rather than just react to the opinions of others?
Yeah. How can I trust myself to truly be me? Well, you're always you. And I think that we definitely get pulled into people's opinions, and or pulled into really needing to get the approval of others. And that's so normal. And I think it's really important just to know that that's not some weird, messed up problem that you have by yourself. That's like a normal human tendency to have, is to really care, because we're just created to survive in numbers together. And so it really matters what other people think about, and it's mattered for our survival. So I think a big thing here is just compassion for ourselves with whatever it is that we're feeling. And I think a lot of the times when we're really caught in needing somebody else's approval, we've stopped paying attention to what we actually want and what we actually care about for ourselves, like our own values. And we've gotten much more bought into someone else's idea about what matters and what's important for us to do and what's important for us to care about. So just acknowledge first compassion, acknowledging that this really hurts, that I feel so insecure, I feel so unsure about myself, and just touching into that part of ourselves on a physical level with some care and compassion. And then just checking in, what do I really care about? What's really important to me? And it can start to kind of clear some of the air around the noise of what I should be doing and what I did wrong. Because those aren't always true. Those are often not true. And they're laden with other people's thoughts and opinions that don't necessarily have any relevance to our lives.
Yeah, the more I practice meditation and specifically self-compassion, the more I can see that so many of the storylines I have running it's me channeling some third-party critic, or me channeling, my parents or whatever. And if you can just kind of have bring some warmth to that, it can change your relationship to it. We are at 20 minutes past the hour. This went really quickly.
That was fast. Yeah.
But thank you very much and great job. Really appreciate it, Cara. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It was my pleasure. Yeah.
And just to say, we'll be back tomorrow with Susan Piver, another fan favorite. In the meantime, everybody, please stay home and stay safe. And we'll see you right back here mañana.